Hello and welcome to Tech Town.
Tech Town.
Season 2, Episode 22, bringing you all things tech from right here in Northeast Portland, Oregon.
That's right. Just coming off the big 50th celebration.
The Big 50.
What a whirlwind.
Thank you so much to our Tech Townies and our friends and family who all tuned in for our 50th episode.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, we're really excited about the turnout. A lot of positivity from you. We got a lot of great ideas. And so all good things. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we're going to get right back to it.
Exactly. That's what we do. So a couple things. Number one, I think it's actually episode 23.
23.
But, I mean, it's just like basket of goodies these days, so who knows what episode it is. Number two, totally great turnout, and I want to give a shout out to my parents who made it all the way to see me on Tech Town, which is I knew what they wanted me to grow up to be.
Yeah.
So thank you guys, and also a great topic for my mom, which is today's topic of movies.
Movies.
I think it's great if we get some more topic ideas. We're happy to do them. So today's goes out to my mom.
So the Town Wizard and Mr. Ellsberg today are going to be talking all things schmovies.
Schmovies, and we actually already did one on videos.
Right.
But there's a difference. Videos can be all sorts of things online, whatever. Movies are movies, and there's enough to talk about just even around movies.
That's right. So we're going to talk about all ways of you to get movies.
Which movies should you watch? What's the future of movies?
Oh,
obviously.
movie future.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
That's what we do here.
We invest heavily in movie futures here in town.
That's true. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Especially Fast or Furious 7. We'll get to that too.
That's right. So we're going to jump right into it. Movies.
All right.
What's up?
So how do you watch them? Well, obviously you can go to the movie theater, but let's start really quickly with movies on demand. That's one way to call it. That's really just you want to, at your computer or maybe at your TV if it's hooked up, you can just watch whatever movie.
Right.
So there's a couple services that I got to recommend. Netflix is, I think, the one. I mean, I've been using Netflix for years, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I see no reason not to. It's $7.99 a month, so it's fairly reasonably priced.
Right.
You get a ton of movies, and you can watch them whenever you want with no ads.
Right. No, Netflix is a great service, and it's what a lot of other services base their actual service upon. On the other hand, it's so big that it has a lot of the issues that just large companies have.
That's true, right? And so you're gonna see them try to figure out how to exist in this world, especially a world where they're hated by pretty much everybody else,
right?
Because they're kind of stealing everybody else's users. Movie theaters are getting less movie people going to them.
Yeah.
Blu-rays or whatever you'd buy these days, or those sales are going down. Right. So Netflix is really kind of in a way hated, but in a way loved, because it's doing what it should actually do, is show movies easily.
Right. And it's helping support new technologies which are coming out right now, like the 4K type of movie production. So that's like a very, very, very high graphic movie viewing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it's beyond Blu-ray. It's the new thing. And Netflix is one of those companies that's offering all sorts of options for your 4K system.
Yeah, exactly. They're responding well to this crazy world of ours. So 4K, like you say, we used to have, like VHSs and things. And then once you got DVDs, that was like way better quality.
Yeah.
Then when you get Blu-rays, then you would get what they call 1080p.
Yep.
That was the new number to put on it.
Yeah.
And that's because of the resolution of the video.
Yeah.
4K is now 4000p.
Yeah.
So you get way better resolution. The thing is, that only matters once you actually have a big enough TV or that you sit close enough to it. So for all of you guys who are just running out the doors to buy 4K TVs, you may want to wait because they're super expensive and there's not quite very much content. But like everything else, it's going to happen. Right. So Netflix is responding.
Yeah, and one of the really cool things about that is so when they came out with faster internet speeds, they didn't know what the results were going to be. And one of the big things that came out from that is streaming online videos, movies, and content. And so when we talk about having better access speeds, better internet speeds, we don't know what's going to happen. But the streaming movies is a great example of one thing that occurred when they jumped bumped the internet speeds last time. Right?
Yeah, exactly, because you wouldn't be able to do that. Movies streaming over the internet is a lot. It's a lot of bandwidth, a lot of files, a lot of data stuff, and so you couldn't even support that. You know, when you had your dial-up modems, you know, you're not going to watch an HD video. Well, now you can. And so now you can, but it's also still a lot of data. So there's still, we talked about net neutrality, and that comes into play because this data is really causing issues of who has it and who's getting it and who's providing it.
Exactamundo.
Yeah. So I'd say keep an eye on Netflix. So far, so great. They had a little rough patch when I think they were trying to split their company into two for DVDs versus streaming. They got past that, I think. There's other services like Netflix. They're not the only one. So Amazon's one I want to bring up. Amazon has an offering with their Amazon Prime service where you can rent movies, or not even rent, it's stream movies like you did on Netflix. So you pay, I think it's $79 or $99 a year for Amazon Prime. And that not only gets you the shipping, 2-day shipping for free, which is totally separate from movies. It's just you can buy anything and get it shipped to you. But also you get access to their catalog of movies and actually I think TV shows too. So it's somewhat of an overlap with Netflix. Some people will have both, but usually I've not found people that have both because of the movies. Usually you would have Amazon Prime maybe for the shipping part, and no, you like it, or you just have Amazon, or you just have Netflix. I'd say you probably don't need both unless it works out that way. But they both have so much content that you can.
And the thing it's occurring, which is a little interesting, is both of Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, which we'll maybe talk about here in a second, they all are creating their own content.
Oh yeah.
So now it actually behooves you to get multiple systems, multiple accounts. Because, well, obviously Amazon, it offers you this entirely other service, which is worth it on its own. But it also, you know, is creating content for like one of the most critically acclaimed TV shows of last season, Transparent. Right? And then Netflix the same with their House of Cards.
House of Cards and Orange is the New Black, and they did the season 3 of Arrested Development. These are TV shows, which is interesting. So there's a lot of these TV shows that are coming onto these services produced by Netflix and Amazon. Movies, not quite as much. So I'm kind of curious when they're going to start doing more of the originally produced movies. Okay, so Hulu, you brought up Hulu. That's a good one. We talked a little about that before. Their business model is with advertising. So you don't necessarily pay for them. You can, but they have movies on their site too, and they're free, which is nice. It's a nice supplement. Their movie selection isn't the best. It doesn't have a lot of the new movies, doesn't have a lot of the popular movies, but it does have some.
It's similar to maybe even watching movies on TV.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, what kind of options are you going to get there? You're going to get 700 of them, but they may not be great. And then one thing I like about Hulu, in talking about the future of movies, they started incorporating a little bit of technology into their site. And one of them is if you put your mouse over somebody's face in what you're watching. So let's say you're watching a movie and there's that one guy that you don't quite know who it is or what else he was in, but you recognize him. It's like, who was that guy? Well, you can move your mouse over his face and it will stop the movie and show you a little pop-up of that guy. And say his name and what else he was in and link to Wikipedia. So that's a really nice feature. And maybe you don't really know who these guys are and you would have just gone on saying, oh, okay, whatever. Now, obviously with the internet, we want to know. So you just put your mouse over his face and then it'll show you, which is really cool technology, actually.
There's always that one guy.
There's always that one guy. Who's that guy? The bad guy from Die Hard, the boss. So YouTube. I want to bring up YouTube because there are some movies on YouTube for free because they're either pirated or people just allow them. But YouTube has a whole movie rental business. And I feel like a lot of people don't even know this, but you can rent and even buy YouTube movies. And it's real YouTube, like youtube.com. And you can pay with a credit card or PayPal or whatever. And you can rent movies for, I think they go from about $2.99 to about $4.99 for a one-time rental. And so instead of going to Redbox or any of these stores that I guess maybe don't exist anymore, you can just rent movies on YouTube for in HD quality or not.
And they also have movies which are linked to the Google video, which are entire movies, and a lot of times you can find some really great documentaries there. The quality might not be as good, but a lot of times these documentaries or movies that have been out for a long time, the people that have created them just want people to watch them, or think that it's important just that people see them. And so you'll find that you'll get a lot of educational content.
YouTube is great for all that other content, you know, not just movies obviously, but for movies even as well. So and there are tons of websites out there that will tell you like the best movies to watch on all these sites. We'll talk a little about that. Really quickly, let's jump to movie theaters. Because a lot of this movie stuff is online, but there's still movie theaters.
Full disclosure, we went to a real brick and mortar movie theater theater on Sunday.
That's right.
To see The Fast and the Furious 7.
That's right. So it was quite a ride, and I've got to recommend that to people out there. If you want to see what The Fast and the Furious gives you, which is cars and speed and excitement and crazy stunts. Go see it.
Very sexy. Very sexy movie.
In all ways.
Not much for plot.
Was there a plot?
I don't think so. The Rock had a kid.
Okay, I remember The Rock. But anyway, definitely worth seeing movies in the movie theater every once in a while. So how are we going to find out which time the movie shows? You know,
I think you can call movie phone.
Well, let's see. We should try that sometime. For right now, I think one of the easiest ways to Google it. So if you type in the name of the movie, it's probably going to just recognize it. You don't even have to type anything else. And it'll show you right there without even having to click on something. It'll show you the times of the movie, which is great. You can also go to fandango.com. That's where you can buy tickets to a movie. It does charge you a little bit extra for their service. So if it's a new movie that you really want to make sure you don't get, it doesn't get sold out and you miss out on a ticket, you can get it beforehand. But it also just really connects with all the movie showtimes. So you can use that as well to look up the showtimes near you. And then there's a zillion apps on phones to do this. So for my Windows phone, I recommend Flickster. And it's just a nice little app that shows you which movies are in the theater, what's their ratings, and showtime. And
a lot of times you won't get the full list of showings if you use something like Fandango, because there's a lot of small independent theaters, especially here in Portland, which offer all sorts of other services that the large, theaters that, have all of the 3D and everything else. I mean, sometimes it's really nice to go into a theater and just have your living room recreated in a way and be able to sit back, eat pizza, drink beer.
Yeah, they have those nice little extras. Not only is the movie usually cheaper, but they have better, cooler seating, couches or the beer or the food or just a nice feel to it. Maybe less ads before it starts. Movie theaters are now putting a ton of ads before even the previews. So yeah, I wanted to mention that too. And I have a link to a website that talks about the but the cheap movie theaters in Portland.
Boom.
You can call them cheap because they are cheaper, but that's not really the way to put them either. Either independent or they're second run movies, or they have a different feel to them. So there's a ton of them. Let me just show you the list of these here. There's the Fifth Avenue Cinema, Academy Theaters, Cinemagic, Cinemark, Century Theaters, Cinetopia, Joy Cinema, Laurelhurst Theater is a cool one.
And so, for instance, you could go to the McMinimans Kennedy School, go soak in the pool, and then go catch a flick.
And not only catch a flick in the gym, the former gym of the Kennedy Theater, which has been converted into a movie theater. So it's a cool feel for sure.
So another thing that a lot of these little independent theaters show is music festival, film festivals. So a lot of these small movie theaters will show special one-off festivals, like for instance Banff Film Festival, which is coming up, which is like a kind of like an extreme sports outdoors film festival, and it's a 3-day festival, and they go from place to place to place. There's the Portland Film Festival that's shown, and they a lot of times use the small independent movie theaters as well.
Absolutely.
Along with supporting local artists who might just have like a local showing of their own.
Yeah, and I'm just guessing at this. I'm not sure, but I think more of the money goes to the art. In the movie theaters, there's so many studios and so many corporations and businesses that are passing around this money, and that's one of the reasons the tickets are costing like $11. For these independent movie theaters, I'm at least hoping that more of the money goes to the artists. Okay, so we found our movie times. There's a zillion movies out. Which one do we even want to see? Well, there's plenty of sites out there that help you figure out which movie to see, and especially about reviews and ratings. So one of the main ones I go to is Rotten Tomatoes. It's RottenTomatoes.com, and that's all about when you used to throw tomatoes because something was bad. I don't know if I've seen that recently, but I'm thinking of bringing that back.
Yeah, maybe they used to give out, produce at rallies or something to get people there, and then they, would have somebody on the pulpit saying something horrible, and then you throw your
tomatoes.
Produce out.
Yeah, produce.
Just the bad stuff. You keep the good.
Right. I always wonder, and I think someone mentioned, if you liked tomatoes, it would be really sending a mixed message, because people are throwing all these wonderful tomatoes at you, and you're like, oh, I'm doing great. But no, that's not what they mean.
Well, just the rotten ones.
Yeah. Okay, just the rotten ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of Rotten Tomatoes, what they do is they're an aggregate, meaning that they go out to all the other movie critics who've already reviewed the movie, and determine whether that critic said it was a good movie or a bad movie.
Right.
And that's it. Not like 1 to 10 is just good movie or bad movie.
Right.
They take all those ratings and then add that up, so you can see a percentage score. That's just based on that. So if a movie has 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, that means 90% of the critics that it was a
and then they have a few different ways of measuring. So there's the critic measurement, and then they also have just like the fan or like the regular person measurement. I think the critic one is usually the one that I would look at, with the exception of movies like The Fast and Furious.
That's true. I think fans probably got that one more right. Yeah. Well, but it's a good point, because there's the typical way to review a movie, and that's been around forever. So what Rotten Tomatoes did is put a few little twists on it, which is great. Number one, it's a lot of reviewers, not just one. Another is the difference between the critics' reviews and the user reviews, because some people see a movie like that, like Furious 7, and love it, but the critics are all on their high horse and saying rah, rah. Sometimes. The other one is
plot. You need a plot.
The other one is there's top critics versus regular critics. So Rotten Tomatoes chooses a few critics that they think are the best, and so you can see the score from just them. So there's a lot of different ways to now slice it to say, what kind of movie should I watch?
How to slice your Rotten Tomatoes.
Exactly. Another website, one of the big ones, is IMDB, the Internet Movie Database.
I am the best.
I am the best at movies.com. And they catalog everything about movies. It's not just the ratings. They have a 10-star rating system. But they have, one of my favorite parts of that is actually the trivia on IMDb. So if you ever go to IMDb and you look up a movie, there's usually a trivia section. And they have really interesting stuff. So I wanted to actually show that real quick, because, there's some cool trivia. So let's say, there is a movie that I obviously wanted to talk about, which is, here we go. Should be seen on the screen. Kindergarten Cop. So Kindergarten Cop, filmed in the wonderful town of Astoria, Oregon, has some trivia. First being, owning a pet ferret, like Detective John Kimball does, is illegal in California, a ban which former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger supported.
Wow, how about that?
So his own movie couldn't even be allowed.
See, I wonder if he's for ferrets that get their sphincter gland removed. Because you can do that, and then your ferret's not smelly anymore. You don't have a smelling ferret.
Wow.
I know.
Now hitting me with the real knowledge.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
No, I sure didn't. But so Bill Murray and Patrick Swayze really originally offered the role of John Kimball. That would have been different to see. And Danny DeVito, but was not given the part due to his height. Well, Arnold's a little different than Danny DeVito.
Oh, fact number 4.
Oh, yeah, filmed in Astoria, Oregon.
Yes, that's interesting. Of course, click on that.
Oh, yeah.
It's very
definitely,
definitely
interesting.
Interesting.
Oh, let's sign up for accounts.
No.
Not now.
Okay, all right.
So, but
very cool.
Really, most every movie has trivia, and I really think this is, some of them are kind of goofy and not that useful, but some of them are pretty interesting. So, all right, so another review site for movies is called Metacritic. It's not only movies, they do other things like TV shows and games. But it is another one that aggregates. So it goes out and finds all of the reviews and tries to equal them out and say, here's what everybody thought of the movie. So, okay, so now we know about, if we have a certain movie in mind, what are the ratings, but how do you even choose which movie? There's so many movies out there, especially once you get something like Netflix, where it's just unlimited almost. So how do you choose? So there's plenty of websites out there just devoted to help you choosing movies, especially even on Netflix. A lot of sites will just say, we know you have Netflix. Here's a bunch of movies on Netflix that are really good. So and they're constantly changing. Netflix gets new movies. This website I found talks about some of the best movies on Netflix right now. So go ahead and check that out. They group them by categories. Some of the best documentaries, including the Blackfish documentary about the SeaWorld being evil to whales, or Muscle Shoals is a great music studio, recording studio that had a lot of great bands. And this one just has great suggestions, I thought.
Very cool. Yeah, I've seen Euro Dreams of Sushi. That's a really good documentary about a guy that devotes his life to making food, you know,
nice,
a certain way
excellent.
of making food.
Yeah, and a lot of these things wouldn't be ones that I would have found, you know. There's so many movies out there, and maybe they're on a topic that I wouldn't have thought of, but some of these websites, another one is called suggestmemovie.com, and Suggest Me Movie gives you a few little knobs you can turn. So you can say which years you want it to be between, what genre it is, what IMDB score it gets. Nice. A lot of times you want to maybe put a basis of a score in there because some movies maybe aren't worth watching. So, or a few keywords. So that's a pretty fun one. There's another one that is a reddit.com, which is the site, forum site basically, that just talks about they went over all of these different review sites like IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic and kind of merged all that information together and came up with this list of the best movies of all time. I think they said the 250 best movies of all time. Wow. So, and the scores because of them. So number 1 on the list is The Godfather in 97. So obviously a classic, but yeah, take a look at that. Some of these aren't necessarily, you know, the most fun movies. There are a lot of the sort of classic serious movies, and I think sometimes those are great. Sometimes I'm not into it. You know, like for example, Lawrence of Arabia. That's like 4th on this list. Right. That's a nice old time movie, but it may not be something you want to just sit down and watch. Yeah. So you got to take these best movies of all time in the context of their sort of award-winning movies maybe, but not just sit down and have a good time movies. Right, exactly. How's The Godfather 2 not above The Godfather? Interesting. Well, the world has spoken, I guess. Oh, man. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a bunch of Sunny fans out there. Yep. All right, so let's get a little more into the future. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, we're talking about all of the things. Okay, but now let's get into the. All right, so here's where we're at. Here's where we're at now. Movie theaters are trying to get people to come to movie theaters because all these other things make it so easy to watch movies from your house. Right. So why would you go to a movie theater anymore? Right. Well, they're trying to give a few little technology things now, and there's more down the road. Now, 3D has been a big one. They tried to make 3D movies popular, and so you'll see a few different levels of how good that is. Right. Sometimes it just seems like it's sort of slapped on there in a gimmick and it costs more money. Right. Versus some movies are really made to be 3D and like watched in 3D, like Avatar, and use different cameras to film them and special technology. So I would say 3D is fun. A lot of people will just hate on it without even trying it. It's fun. It's something to see. It's something new, a reason to go to the movie theater. But certain movies really make use of it well, where you don't quite feel as sick or it looks a little more natural or supposed to be there. Right. So it's been working okay. Cool. There's plenty of theater technology that they're trying to do. So one of them, a big one. Let's start sharing the screen so you can see this. This is a list that talks about all the different theater technologies that are out there right now. And one of the biggest ones is IMAX, if you've heard of IMAX. IMAX is making bigger screens, better quality video and audio, and then certain kind of stadium seating. So that's one of them that's big. You'll see that all the big movies will come out on IMAX, right? But it will also be about $5 extra. So they have a bunch of these things. HFR 3D, so high frame rate. That Lord of the Rings, the most recent Hobbit movies, were using this mostly for the first time. And some people liked it, some people didn't. What it is normally our eyes can only sense a certain amount of frames per second in a movie. Yeah. And then we can't tell. So why have 100 frames in a second when we can't even tell? Why not just have, I think they usually do about 30 frames a second. Right. But there are certain scenes or certain action sequences that we actually, or I can actually tell the difference between that frame rate. Right. So what they did is they had a higher frame rate so that those action scenes look a little more natural to us. Right. So like maybe what was used in Planet Earth a little bit, when the sharks were jumping out of the water, right? Imagine, it's sort of like that. That's how they filmed it. Okay. But even in Planet Earth, they dumbed it down for when we're watching it. Right. So even as good as it may have been when they filmed it, they dumbed it down for. So it was actually a smart shark. Which, smart shark. They drop its IQ. Yeah. 30 points. Oh, yeah. I guess so. That's true. Keep those sharks smart. Yeah. Start a rally. and then I wanted to mention again IMAX. IMAX is kind of in 3D. These are kind of the big ones. There's other ones about the sound getting better and Dolby Digital and a few of these things. The biggest ones these days are IMAX and then 3D, which can be together or also can be separate.
Yeah, super cool.
And there's plenty of explanations on how these 3D work. We talked a little about that before. You know, there's the kind where, which is amazing, the movie is showing the one image and then the other image and then the one image and then the other image so quickly that your glasses are turning off one lens and then turning off the other lens and turning off the other lens. So your eyes at the exact same rate are doing it. It's amazing, but that may go away. It's not necessarily.
Holy smokes.
All right, so that's pretty cool current technology in movies, but really what everybody wants to know is what's the future of movies?
What's going on?
Well, we've got 4D.
Right, we talked a little bit about that.
So, right, you've got movie theaters that are spraying you in the face with water, and they have fog.
Oh, right.
And, you know, they're rolling you around in seats that move.
Okay.
So,
and they've had that for a while.
They have. It hasn't been mainstream movies as much, but, you know,
I think there was an earthquake movie that was not too long ago. Like maybe, or actually it was long. It was like in the 70s.
Yeah.
Right, where they would shake the seats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they want to, you know, 3D is nice and all, but they really want to bring in all these other senses. Like, you know, eventually, I don't know if I think one theater had smell as part of it. So you're watching something smelly on the screen and they just blast out smell. So it's a little gimmicky now, obviously.
Right.
But I mean, who knows? The future of movies could be all senses, not just your sight and sound.
Right.
So the movie theaters are really trying to figure out new ways for or reasons for people to go to the movies. So sometimes they're stretching it a little bit.
Yep.
I have a list in some of these links of some of the gimmicks that they've tried. And some of them seem like they're going to last, and some of them really don't. So some of the terrible ones were one of them they wanted phones to be socially acceptable in theaters. So right now you have cell phones, and they're always telling them to turn it off. Well, some of them are trying to have you interact with the movie through your cell phone. Oh. So you would have your cell phone open and be doing things.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Huh.
The lobbies right now of movie theaters, they have all sorts of things going on, movies and movie previews and things. So they're trying to get the movie theater lobby itself to be interesting. Right. Interactive commercials. They have commercials where you can like move your hands and it affects the commercial.
Wow.
Some of these are just like only gimmicks, so I'm not really big on those. Some of them are going to be more interesting.
Right.
I think one of them that actually could be more interesting is virtual reality movies.
Ooh, like Oculus.
Exactly,
get in there.
Like Oculus. So on Oculus Rift, the virtual reality headset where you cover your eyes completely with a screen, and you look around and all you can see is just in the virtual world.
Right.
They have movies that they're making for that. So a natural one was video games where you could interact. Movies, it might be a little weird because you can't interact.
It's like a choose your own adventure.
Except not.
Huh.
Well, I mean, they can make that too.
Right.
I think that is the way to go. But imagine they just made a movie where you're just kind of like sitting there and you just look around. What you can do is look around everywhere. So you're not just looking around at the movie or looking just straight at it. Huh. But I'd say, a natural progression is more of a game or an interactive thing where then you can move and do things and choose your own
adventure.
I
wonder if you have to like go to the bathroom in the middle of the movie, right? If like the movie comes with you,
you know,
sure. Into the bathroom.
Why stop?
Is that you're peeing in the side of the movie?
Yeah, that's right. And you know, normally you have to stop watching the movie to go to the bathroom and miss all the good parts. So now, just keep watching.
Right.
It is crazy what it takes to film or make a movie in virtual reality, though. Because you imagine you made a 2D movie, you just have a camera. A 3D movie, you have to have 2 cameras, which is a little more difficult. A virtual reality movie where you can turn your head anywhere means they have to film 360 degrees at all times.
Wow.
So they have these ridiculous rigs with like 16 GoPros pointed in all the different directions.
Wow.
That then they can sort of make these movies with. But that's not easy yet, so it's going to take a little while.
And I would assume that the quality isn't super great either with GoPros.
I think with GoPros it's not. That's a little proof of concept. But, you know, it's a good start. And GoPros are pretty good quality.
It's true.
So look out for virtual reality movies. I think that may actually be, and like you say, a little more interactive. That may be one of the real future movie events.
And then we didn't really touch upon it here. There's also the whole pirating movies situation.
That is true.
Which, unless you're under a rock, you don't know much about it.
Yeah. So it turns out you're able to pirate movies, meaning you're able to download them for free.
Right.
And a lot of times that will hurt the movie industry because people are watching them for free. But not always. A lot of times people will see the movie to see whether they like it to go then see it again or tell their friends. So it's a fine line. My take on it is Netflix has it figured out where you can pay a reasonable amount of money and get movies. For the people who don't agree with that and have all these other crazy strategies and charge a lot of money, maybe there's some need for piracy to give them a little hint to move towards the Netflix direction.
Right. And one thing that does occur as well is there's movies that come out in the movie theaters, which maybe the market isn't there for the movie, like for instance, like going to see Avatar or something. Like that would be something that you would want to see in the movie theater because you're going to get something extra.
Yeah.
Now there's other movies where you might not get much extra bang for your buck by going to a movie theater.
Yeah.
And so there's a gap in time in which you will have that movie available on something like Netflix.
Yeah.
And so some people aren't willing to wait for that to come out.
That's true. And I think what's interesting is the statistics on which movies those are.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting. Some of them are the most pirated movies of all time. Right the day after they came out. Right. Some of them it takes a while because you never really heard about them, and then people are starting to get into it. And again, I think that's just a signal to the industry to say something's not quite right.
Right.
I think people are willing to pay for movies sometimes.
Yeah.
But maybe not in the ways that it kind of works out in the world.
Right. Different models need to start being embraced and maybe toyed with.
Yep.
In the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll look forward to Netflix getting more movies and less pirating.
Boom! All things movies.
Boom!
Which brings us to
music. Too bad we don't have the real drums to be doing our theme music. That's fun. We'll do that again. All right. So in the theme of movies, let's have the 25 best movie soundtracks of all time. So movie soundtracks are awesome. I've been a big fan of movie soundtracks. It's not necessarily something you'll listen to all the time. You don't necessarily listen to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack when you want to put on a chill song with your friends or something.
Right, or
maybe.
Like Jurassic Park.
Oh, well, yeah, it's true, maybe. But there are some movie soundtracks that are incredible, even if it's classical music, and it sounds like an orchestra. Maybe it's not the type of movie or music you normally listen to.
Right.
Sometimes that can be really incredible music, whether it's you're studying maybe and you need some music in the background, or you're having some company over and you want something pleasant.
Right.
Or one thing I found that's actually really fun is to take a movie soundtrack and then play it while you have the TV playing something else, which is muted.
Yeah.
And the movie soundtrack seems to go to the TV when it's not even supposed to.
Right.
Put on like Planet Earth, put on a movie soundtrack.
Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. And then watch as the birds have the Darth Vader theme when they're attacking. Seems to work out better than it should.
Yep.
So, but this website has a bunch of great movie soundtracks. This is Rolling Stone's version of this. And some of them are the classical music, but some of them are not. Some of them, like Pulp Fiction, that has a great soundtrack, which is like pop songs. Or not necessarily pop like we know them today, but it has, good surf rock from Dick Dale. It has Chuck Berry. So check out that one for sure. That was one of my favorites.
Very cool.
Saturday Night Fever, some disco, the Beatles, obviously. The Jimmy Cliff movie, The Harder They Come,
that's
has
a great
reggae music.
Yeah.
Purple Rain with Prince.
Oh wow, yeah.
And
Holy
number one,
smokes.
The Beatles. So these are more of the with lyrics.
Right.
But then if you look at the previous items in this list, they have also ones that are the instrumental. I would say my favorite instrumental movie soundtracks are Star Wars.
Yep.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
Ooh.
That soundtrack's great. That theme song is wonderful.
Yeah.
And Huey Lewis and everything. And then I would say, let's call it good with that.
Oh, those are good ones.
Those are good ones. Those have been some of my favorites.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, obviously, like Star Wars is right up there. Jurassic Park.
Oh, that was the fourth one I was going to say.
Yeah,
all right.
Jurassic Park. Amazing. I would also say, this is kind of putting on the spot here, but Almost Famous.
Oh yeah,
has a great one, and then I would say Pulp Fiction is right up there as well.
Yeah, that's
really
a great
good.
one.
Tarantino does a great job. I mean, it's Kill Bill stuff. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah. All right, so that brings us to Mr. Ellsberg.
All right, yeah, and so this is one that I've shown before, but the Vimeo staff picks, which are basically short movies.
Oh yeah.
And so these are fantastic. It's got music videos a lot of times, but also a lot of just short, very short flicks. I mean, right here it's got Bjork one, but you can go through all of these, and they're just insane. They're so good. I was watching a really weird one yesterday called Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared 4. I mean, this, very, very weird stuff. Yeah, it's awesome, produced at a very high quality, and it's a lot of people making movies. I think the big thing with this sort of thing is that you can make your own movies.
Yeah,
and you should make your own movies.
Yeah,
and in a way, like this is like a very like rudimentary form of like us just kind of like doing things in like a podcast sort of thing. But you can make movies. Microsoft Final Cut. You can. I'm sorry, not Microsoft. Apple Final Cut. Microsoft has a program.
Yeah, Windows Movie Maker.
Windows Movie Maker. And go and make your own stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is like, yes, there are like crazy movie makers out there, but there's nothing that's like more fun than getting together with some friends or family or whatever and just making some random stuff. I mean, use the same plot as like, say, Kindergarten Cop, have someone be the undercover
redo or Kindergarten Cop with your own style. Yeah, it's more doable than ever. Even if you don't have the best cameras or anything, you can use your cell phone camera. Some famous people have even made full-length movies with just their cell phone camera to prove the point that it's not about the technology. You just have to have a good story. You have to be into it. I think a great example is the redo of Star Wars, where it was fan-made. For every 15 seconds of the movie, they gave each 50-second chunk out to the world and said, choose one chunk, sign up for the chunk, make it however you want. It can be real-life acting, it can be animated, it can be cardboard boxes as X-Wings or whatever. And then they put it all together, and you can watch the complete shot-for-shot remake of fans making the whole movie. They have that for A New Hope, the original Star Wars movie, and The Empire Strikes Back so far. Yeah, it's so cool. It's more accessible than ever. Just go and try it. Doesn't matter if you mess up or not. It'll be a fun time experience of trying to create it. Yeah, so send us your movies. I want to watch them. Yeah, we want to see your movies. All right. Extra credit if you make a movie about a Tech Town episode. Oh yeah, we will like it. I'll like it. Yeah. All right, so finally, security segment of the week. Okay, so also going along with the themes of movies, we're going to talk DRM. So DRM stands for Digital Rights Management. Okay. Maybe this hasn't been as hot of a topic now because it's sort of settled, but at least 5 years ago, it was like the topic. Right. Especially with music and movies. What it means is it's a technology that allows people who make the movie and sell the movie to keep control over that rather than pirates getting all the movies. Right. So what they have is this sort of security, this encryption that goes on every movie that they make, and that theoretically nobody could watch that movie unless they allow it. So when you buy something through iTunes, or when you watch something on Netflix, or when you watch something on even YouTube, that they have a way of making it not copyable. And in a way that's good because it prevents the stealing. It sort of allows for a business model that actually works, where you have control over this kind of stuff. If you're a movie maker and you want to make the money instead of it just getting totally released, you can have some sort of control over it using technology. On the other hand, it has caused quite a big stink. It sort of hinders things. Sometimes, a movie you bought legally won't work with your DVD player. Or it won't work on your computer, or you have it on this computer, you wanted to watch it on the other computer, and you can't. You have to buy it again. It's been working out a little better these days, but there's been a lot of issues with the implementation of this security. Right. So I would say it's a good idea. A lot of people kind of hate on it because they think everything should be free. I'm not that way. I think if you spend all this time and money making a movie, there should be a way for you to have control over selling it. But it sometimes goes in a bad way of when it actually comes out. There's these issues that shouldn't come up. I wanted to watch the movie anywhere. I bought it. I should be able to watch it anywhere. I bought it on a Blu-ray. I should be able to put it on my computer, on my phone. There's still issues with that. So DRM, good idea, but make it way better. Right. You've got to,
you know, and sometimes when things like this come about, you've got to think of solutions that are outside the box.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not something where you are allowing every, you know, person, you know, individually to watch it.
Right.
You know, like you got to kind of think in terms of like a different environment.
Yes.
Right. And so that's a lot of times like these types of solutions are so boxed into what has happened before.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's hard to kind of come up with new solutions.
Yeah, I agree. A good example with this DRM is that DRM solves the problem, or doesn't solve it, helps the problem of piracy.
Right.
But like you're saying, why is there piracy?
Right.
Or maybe we should, you know, have better movies or better theaters or better something that makes people not want to pirate.
Yeah.
So DRM is one solution or helpful solution for one piece of this puzzle of preventing copying movies.
Right.
But yeah, it's a bigger picture than that.
Exactly. And so that brings us to our end of our show this week. We also want to let you know that we created a Facebook page, and maybe we can show them really quick what that looks like.
Yeah, check out our Facebook.
Yeah, you can. We're gonna. This should be linked to our Facebook page, and this is it. You can search Techtown. It's under www.facebook.com/TechtownCrush.
Yeah, //
Yeah, and so if you want to go in and follow, we've got more information beyond just what our shows are, our weekly shows. And if you want to keep up with Techtown via Facebook, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. See, check it out. Fire and Star Wars in a Death Star fire pit. That is awesome. So yeah, there's gonna be nice things, little things posted here.
Right. So like the Snowden interview, which happened on Sunday, a very, very cool you know, security topic interview, which everyone should go and check out. Yeah, and that's it here from Techtown. We will see you in a few weeks. The Town Wizard is going to sunny, tropical Caribbean island of
St. John.
St. John.
Yeah, and it's going to be nice there. I wish I could do a remote Techtown from there, but I may be actually out in the jungles doing things.
That's the thing when you're in St. John's, whether it's here in Portland or out in the Caribbean, sometimes you get service, sometimes you don't. You really can't rely on it.
That's interesting. Yeah, I only go to places named St. John. Well, I guess this one's, the one I live in is St. John's.
Yeah.
And the one I'm going to is St. John.
Right.
But that's the only places I ever go.
Well, that's the thing is, I think St. John down in the Caribbean owns St. John's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I guess that's right. Apostrophe, yeah. Got it. Excellent.
Yeah. He's into bridges. Okay, we will see you in a few weeks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a good one, guys.
All right.